The Premier League is back this weekend. We are back. The Premier League is back. I'm absolutely buzzing about it. And today we're going to be predicting it. Liverpool still need to sign loads of players. I'm still very worried that we're not going to sign a DM and a centre-back. But the entire Premier League is buzzing because this is the time that we've been waiting for the past months in the summer. The Premier League is back starting this Friday. As I'm filming it today, it is currently Tuesday, cannot wait for it, and today we'll be predicting it from 1st to 20th, where will everyone finish? My predictions are usually horrendous, but let's go for this. I've tried to hold out as late as possible to get all the transfers in and all the news, but let's do this. In 20th place, I'm very sorry, I've gone for Sheffield United. I just don't think they're good enough. They've lost their best player for 20 million to Marseille, Ilman Ndiaye. I just can't believe that. I was really excited to see him in the Premier League because I think he's very good. But from his point of view, that move to Marseille was absolutely the correct decision. Sheffield United will miss him, and I think that they'll finish 20th. I don't think that there is a chance that they don't get relegated. And in 19th, I've gone for Luton Town. They're in the Premier League. You know, from non-league, it's a brilliant story. They're at Kenilworth Road. It's crazy stuff. They've signed a few good players. You know, I'm not looking down on the signings of the likes of Issa Kabore. But, bro, Luton Town in the Premier League, it's just not enough. I'm sorry, I don't think they've got it in them. And those two, I think, will be very far below, and I don't think that they have any chance of survival. Moving into 18th, this was extremely difficult because I have to say there are a lot of bad teams in the league this year. I could have gone for West Ham, for Bournemouth, for Burnley, for Everton. But I've gone for Wolverhampton Wanderers because they are losing players left, right and centre. They lost Ruben Neves, Nathan Collins, João Moutinho, Raul Jimenez. They're absolutely losing the money, losing the players. And it looks like they could lose Julen Lopetegui as well. Lopetegui looks like he might walk, which would completely make sense from his point of view because he isn't getting backed. Wolves are doomed to fail, I think, this season. And I think 18th is just a reality. I think that is exactly what could happen. There are a lot of teams going to be fighting with that, but I think that Wolves are they haven't made any good signings. They just keep losing players. They haven't got a goal scorer. It's really bad over there. And moving into 17th, just surviving by the skin of their teeth for the third time in a row, I've gone for Everton Football Club. I mean, they brought in Arnaut Danjuma and Ashley Young. Their transfer window is about as inspiring as I don't know what. It's completely and utterly horrendous over there right now. And I don't know what's happening, but I think Everton, just because of the fans, the size of the club, they will again survive by a Rizla paper. Moving over to 16th. A team that, if Gary O'Neill was still manager, I would actually have put to go down. However, the manager now, Andoni Iraola, is actually incredibly underrated. He got Rayo Vallecano really, really high in La Liga last season, did very, very well with them. He's good at working on tight budgets, and maybe he could succeed at Bournemouth because I think relegation is probably very, very close. Second season syndrome, but I think that they will survive. They've brought in some very good players. Milos Kerkez, who I actually very much like. Then there's obviously Justin Kluivert. There's loads of good players being signed at Bournemouth, and I think that they'll finish 16th. Moving into 15th, now this one could get relegated as well. This club is literally building a recipe for disaster, but I hope that they actually don't get relegated, and I think they'll finish 15th. They just sold their best player, Declan Rice. West Ham will finish 15th, and that is very good for them, in my opinion, because they have not signed anybody. They have really, and I think David Moyes could be sacked very, very soon. It's not looking good at West Ham right now, and I think 15th is very optimistic looking at it. Moving into 14th, Vincent Kompany Ball is going to the Premier League. Burnley are finishing 14th, and it's a completely different Burnley to the one that we saw last time they were in the Premier League. Sean Dyche Ball, Vincent Kompany Ball, and Vincent Kompany is going to take this team to 14th. They got James Trafford in goal, which is a very, very nice signing. They've got the players. Last season, Josh Brownhill was really, really good. Now they have lost Ian Maatsen. He's gone back to Chelsea, but I think that at 14th, very, very nice for them. For their first season back in the Premier League, they'll take that any day of the week, and I think that that's where they will finish. Moving into 13th, I've gone for Nottingham Forrest. I really like the manager, Steve Cooper. I think last season they underperformed a bit. I think this season, with the new signings sort of integrating more, because when you look at it, They couldn't gel last year. Steve Cooper didn't know what his best 11 was. It was slightly worrying, but I think that this season, with Morgan Gibbs-White, Brennan Johnson, Taiwo Awoniyi as that sort of front three, they've absolutely got it in them. And moving up one more place, in 12th place, I've gone for Fulham. Now, this might seem high because it looks like they could lose Mitrovic, second season syndrome, whatever like that. But I think they'll finish 12th. They've brought in Raul Jimenez, they've brought in Calvin Bassey, good signings, and Fulham, I mean, I like Marco Silva. He's a very good manager. They've still got Palhinha there. If they can manage to keep hold of them, very, very nice. Bernd Leno in goal, solid keeper, one of the best last year in the Premier League. And I think that Fulham will just do enough to stay around mid-table. 11th, Crystal Palace on their way because Zaha's gone, so that's their main talisman out. But there's a lot of bad teams, and I think that at 11, that's absolutely fine. I think Eze and Elise are going to have another brilliant year. Mark Gay, he's still there. It's a good team, Crystal Palace, that are building. They've got Roy Hodgson at the helm. Like, come on, bro. What's not to like about Roy Hodgson, if you know what I mean? Crystal Palace are very, very good. They've got this. And then moving into 10th is a team that aren't going to have Ivan Toney for 6 months, and the fact that they're still going to finish top 10 is just super inspiring. It's Brentford Football Club, and they've made great signings. Mark Flecken in goal if David Raya does leave. Kevin Schade, I really like that signing. Fast, pacey winger, can play through the middle, nice, could fit really well for the first half of the season with Mbeumo and Wissa. And then at the back, they've brought in Nathan Collins from Wolves. I think that Brentford, again, doing smart business. Thomas Frank is an incredible manager, and Brentford will be okay to finish 10th in the mid-table, basically. Moving into 9th, Brighton and Hove Albion. This might seem low, but they have lost Alexis McAllister to the mighty Liverpool. It looks like they could lose Moises Caicedo. I mean, they have brought in some really good players, though. I really do like their signings. Joao Pedro is very good signing. Then they've got, obviously, James Milner for the experience, Mahmoud Dahoud from Dortmund. But the one I really like is Igor Julio from Fiorentina. Very good young centre-back in the Serie A last year. They've brought him to Brighton. We know how good they are at developing players, and I think that he could bang this season. Moving into 8th, and when I say this, you're all probably going to yell at me. You're going to think, oh, this guy doesn't know ball, he's so stupid. But hear me out. There's a lot of, like I said, there's a lot of bad teams. There's also a lot of good teams. And in 8th place, I've gone for Newcastle United. I know that sounds crazy given the fact where they finished last year. They're in the Champions League. However, I think that will be part of their downfall. Champions League football, midweek games, they don't have the squad depth. They've signed Harvey Barnes, which I think is a solid signing. Sandro Tonali, I think. A lot of people are doubting that signing. I think he's going to be really good next to Bruno Guimaraes and that. But 8th place, because there are a lot of good teams, and I think if they want a good Champions League run as well, which I think they could go quite deep potentially, it's going to be interesting. It's going to be very interesting for Newcastle, but I just don't think that they have got enough depth, and especially if they get a few injuries. When Bruno Guimaraes is out, they struggle badly, right? They need to make sure he's fit for the whole season. But moving into 7th is a team that could shock you, is above Newcastle, but they've got an unbelievable manager at the helm. They've spent really well on the likes of Yuri Tielemans, Pau Torres, and especially Moussa Diaby. Aston Villa are going to finish 7th, and they're going to win the Europa Conference League next season. I mean, what's not to like about Aston Villa right now? The signings are brilliant. Pau Torres is an incredible signing. He was looked at as a highly touted defender even a few years back, and now Aston Villa have managed to get him from Villarreal. Moussa Diaby, he was linked with Newcastle. Villa got him, and I think that pace is just going to tear up the Premier League. Moving into 6th, I mean, people might have this team like 9th and stuff because they think Harry Kane's going to go. I think Harry Kane is going to stay, and Tottenham are going to do very well. I think 6th would be a massive win for Tottenham. Ange Postecoglou at the helm now. That front three of Kane, Son, Kulusevski. If Kane stays, which I think he will, I think that could, again, do bits. James Maddison in midfield is what they've needed for so long, and they just signed Mickey van de Ven at the back for 40 million. Good young centre-back. Liverpool were linked with him. I wanted him. And now Tottenham have got him. They've got a new goalkeeper, Guillermo Vicario from Empoli. these are some very smart signings that I think are going under the radar, and Tottenham will have a good year, in my opinion, if Harry Kane stays. 6th place, I think Christian Romero could go back to his best. I think it's going to be a very good year for them. 5th place is a wildcard team. You don't know what you're going to get with this team, but I think that it will do enough because of the new Champions League coefficient to get them into the Champions League. Chelsea are finishing in 5th. Now, Nicholas Jackson is absolutely unbelievable. I watched him in La Liga last year. I did it, the underrated video, and if he was still in La Liga, I would definitely put him in that. I think he's so underrated, and he will do bits up front. However, the news has just come that Christopher Nkunku will miss the first few months of the season, so they're going to have to go without him. They brought in Axel Disasi, they brought in Robert Sanchez from Brighton. They've got some good signings, a good team, and a good manager. However, it's all a wild card because you don't know what's going to happen. Last season was a horrible season. They've got so many players. Who's going to play? Who's going to do good? Mudryk, Sterling. What's going to happen? I think that 5th place, and I think that would be a very good season for Chelsea. 4th place, I've gone for Manchester United. They've signed Rasmus Højlund. They've signed Mason Mount. They've signed Andre Onana. And those are the positions that they needed strengthening, and they got them. Onana, I think, will do brilliantly. I think Rasmus Højlund is someone you need to wait on. I don't think we'll see the best of him this season, but I think he will turn out to be a very, very good player for Man United. Mason Mount, I don't know. I'm not sure on Mason Mount. I don't know how he's going to do, but let's see. I think Manchester United, 4th place. I mean, they're in the Champions League. I think that'll be a good year. I think that United fans want to challenge for the league more, but I think they need a few. I don't think they're quite there yet. Moving into 3rd place, it's my beloved Liverpool. Yep, I mean, do I see us challenging for the league? Absolutely not. We need a defensive midfielder. We need a centre-back. We need so many more signings. Our squad depth is leaky. Going forward, we're absolutely incredible. As I just saw in pre-season, like, brilliant. But at the back, we are leaky. Oh my God, right? Lavia needs to sign straight away. But I don't even want Lavia. You know, you have 100 million there. Go and get Moises Caicedo. If Caicedo joins in the midfield with McAllister and Szoboszlai, and then we get a solid young centre-back, that is a team that will be soon capable of challenging for the league. But not right now. With Curtis Jones playing as a 6, come on, we can't do that. And I think 3rd place would be a very good season, get us back into the Champions League. But I think a Europa League run, maybe win that, is very important for Liverpool next season. But come on, up the Reds. I'm not that optimistic so far without the defensive midfielder and the centre-back. But if they join, who knows what can happen. Our first game is Chelsea though, so that slightly worries me because that has 0-0 written all over it. And moving into 2nd, Arsenal Football Club. They've made very good signings. Declan Rice, yes, I know they overpaid, crazy, he's not worth 105, but he's still a very good player. Jurrien Timber, very underrated signing. I think he's a very good centre-back. I wanted him at Liverpool, very great player. Kai Havertz, stinker, I think he's going to flop. Obviously, he's horrible, yeah, we know that. But Arsenal are a good team right now. They've got their players. Their squad depth is still missing. That's why I don't think they can challenge Man City. But bro, another season of Saka, Odegaard, Martinelli, Partey, Saliba, Gabriel. This is a great team. I mean, they're still rumoured to get more signings like David Raya in goal, and Arsenal will finish 2nd. And then number 1, to absolutely nobody's surprise, it's Oil Money FC Manchester City. Their squad is just too insane, and they've just signed Joško Gvardiol. They're too good. Let's just put it that way. I don't see anybody challenging Man City. I think Arsenal could try. I think it might look like a title challenge maybe if Arsenal try and challenge them. It could look like it's close, but Man City are gonna always win this league. I just don't see a way in which it doesn't happen. And that is my final ranking. I mean, this season's gonna be crazy. This season's gonna be wild. I'm very excited for it because, I mean, I don't know what to expect from Liverpool right now, but just overall the Premier League, it's going to be so different, especially with a team like Luton in there, teams going to Kenilworth Road. It's going to be crazy. I'm so excited for it, so hyped, and see you guys soon.